Welcome to Small Steps. My name is Seth Potts, and I want to show you how to hide rows, columns, sheets, and even text in cells. Situations come up, and it could be mainly for your use. Maybe you're looking at something with a lot of information, a lot of rows, a lot of columns, and to make it easier for you to view, you hide these columns so you don't want to see them. You don't want to necessarily delete them though. You want to make it where you can pull them back up if you need to, but this page is cluttered, things like that. Or if you're sharing a product with somebody and you want to clean it up where it's easier for them to look at without, once again, without deleting the information, these are certain things we can hide to accomplish that. First thing we're going to look at is hiding rows and columns. In a sheet like this, just some random sample data we have. A lot of times when I have data that comes in and it's a lot of columns, I mean enough that you're scrolling to the right and there's a lot of information you don't necessarily need, but you don't want to delete all the original data, you can hide certain columns. For example, here, if I'm looking at this information, let's just say it seems unnecessary to have the NIBRS code sitting here when it's listed in this. It's just kind of what's pulled from your RMS, so you're not going to delete it necessarily, but you want it to go away. You can highlight a whole column like this or multiple columns at the same time, either way. And if you right click on it, there's an option here for hide. And when you do that, it does not delete anything out, but it gives the appearance that that whole column is gone. You can kind of see and notice up at the top here, you have these two weird lines here. There's two ways you can go about unhiding that. You can it'll do one column or row at a time when you do it, but if you hover over, you could double click and it'll bring that back. The other option, if you have multiple columns that are hidden like that, you can just highlight. Let's say those lines were right here. You can highlight the column before and after it, and when you click unhide, it will unhide every column that you had hidden in there. It works the same way for the rows. You would just select, let's say we want to get rid of, for whatever reason, the third here. You can highlight that those rows, right click and hide, and it once again removes them from your view but not deleting. So I'll highlight around that, so see it goes straight from 3 to 7. If I highlight around that and click unhide, it will bring all those back. The same way we could do this with rows and columns, you can do that with the sheets at the bottom. So see down here I have a couple tabs. When I use this the most is if I have a couple tabs here that are different types of data, and I have maybe something that's more for viewing. Maybe it's like in this case, I just did the suggested just a pivot table and chart. You do dashboards. Sometimes it's easy to just have that one tab showing down there and not all the tabs you have all your data in. A lot of times what I like to do is hide the tabs and just have that one showing. If you're sending this to someone that's a little more savvy in Excel, I mean, it's not foolproof that they wouldn't be able to pull that stuff up, but just for appearance sake, a lot of times it's easy just to make it look cleaner for whoever, yourself or somebody else. So what I'm going to do down here is just right click on the tab, the sheet that I want to hide, and you just click hide and it disappears. Everything else, information that was pulling off, still there because it's not deleted. To unhide, you just click anywhere down there as well and click unhide. It'll pull up this menu. Now if I had hidden more than one sheet down there, it would show multiples, and you can unhide one or more of the sheets. So we'll just click OK and it'll bring it back there. Now one other thing that I've found here, and is somewhat interesting, because a lot of times I'll have something that I'm doing, could be some sort of year-end report, information that maybe I don't do too often, and I'll have a sheet that I maybe write my own notes on just when I pull it back up, just to kind of remember what I did before. I'm just going to take a screenshot, or I'm going to maybe share it with somebody, and I don't necessarily want some of that information showing. It's just not very appealing to have your notes on it. What I used to do, and this still works, and it's actually might be the easiest way to do it. Let's just say, for the sake, I'm just going to highlight this right here. Let's say I'm just going to get rid of the third. I don't want it looking like there's rows or columns or anything missing, but I just want those to appear like they're not there. What I used to do, and you still do, is you just change the font color to match the background color, and it looks as if it's disappeared. You can still click on those cells, and you can see, up here that they're still there. The other option that I found, and I thought it was kind of interesting, is if you go up and change the type here, format cells to down to custom. That's one I saw you could put in. If you do a semicolon 3 times, the text disappears, and it's the same thing. It looks like the same appearance as if you just change the font, but same type of thing. The text is still there. So if I'm doing something, I have a formula written down on it and just kind of my own notes, I can change that formatting to those 3 semicolons where it just disappears. It's not gone. And if you're worried about, like say, the appearance that columns or rows are hidden, it alleviates that problem as well. So overall, like I say, depending on what you're doing, sometimes it's handy to hide information, but when you don't want to delete it, and let's say rows, columns, sheets, or even just text like that, a couple options in Excel to do that. If you found this tutorial helpful and would like to see more, click like and subscribe. Next video coming up is going to be on combining spreadsheets that contain a common field.